I know we've all heard the statement, a God that's affected by time, space, or matter cannot be God. But I think the statement should be, if a man is not affected by time, space, and matter, he is not human. And that would be correct regarding humans, but it is not necessarily correct regarding a God of whom we know very little about. So it seems that humans seem to have an outdated approach regarding the supernatural, meaning that only because man is limited by X, Y, or Z doesn't mean that God can have similar limitations and still be God. Not to mention that most arguments, right, that religious people make regarding space and time are Einsteinian in theory to begin with. Now, rather, what we really should be doing is asking, did God ever instruct us to make such claims in his behalf? I mean, in the first place, ever in the Torah? Actually, the only attestable claim regarding God in the Torah is that God is good, and that he's essentially unique in comparison to other gods. Meaning that religions, including mine, Judaism, today will not even let you enter if you held or even are not convinced of the wall of beliefs that they themselves created about God on what he is or what he isn't, when God never hinted to us in any definitive way regarding such inquiries. So in an attempt to proclaim God as great, we have essentially left many without God, just because they do not submit to our definition of God. And again, this is regarding the characteristics that the Torah is pretty much silent about, again, in any definitive way. First, they'll say that no man could properly describe God or comprehend his essence or even see God. But then they'll shun anyone who does not concur with their attempt to do the same or to explain what they say that it's impossible to explain. So which one is it? Because honestly, it doesn't take really a genius to acknowledge that God could still be God, even though our minds can't properly comprehend his possible limits. Meaning, what makes him God is not his supposed limitlessness, but his supernatural ethical will for humanity. The prophet even alludes to this notion when he states that the holy God is made holy by righteousness. Meaning, what sets God apart is his moral behavior and not how great and all-powerful he may claim to be. Now, history validates this, meaning that many societies had supreme gods, which shared their splendor with other gods and also had limitations, but they were still worshipped as gods. Meaning that the way we show our gratitude to God is not by over-embellishing his being, which he did not command us to do in the first place, but rather by keeping what he did command, i.e. his instructions. Because people nowadays argue over essentially nothing, especially when both sides really don't know anything about the Creator. Mainly because many have become convinced that the only way you defeat atheistical arguments is by ramping the supposed abilities of your God to the most far-fetched philosophical levels, and then think because they have covered all the metaphysical and physical bases that they in some way have done God and religion a favor. Actually, the root of such arguments were never meant to be used against other religions or to present God to unbelievers, but rather as a method to sharpen the thinking within believers to help them possibly grasp a more philosophically sophisticated understanding of God, but not in any way a definitive one. The problem is that because of the habit that religious people have in deifying their teachers and what they teach, when a Jew quotes Maimonides or a Christian quotes Aquinas, they now think they are quoting source material instead of just opinion. As logical as it may sound, yes, my friends, it's still fallible opinion. And this is just something for you guys to think about today. Have a nice day.